Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's cut.
Hello. Hi, how are you?
We have special guests today.
Yeah, we have tonight with us a live interview with Abbe and Hann from Evolution Shears. And if this is your first time joining us, we're on 5 platforms this evening, live streaming. You will be able to see our comments and questions over here. I was just going to say, Facebook user, I think there's some way to give permission so we're not there's Mindy.
Mindy says hi, everyone.
Facebook user, but please put your names in the chat for us. This will be recorded and it will be up on podcast for future viewings. Did I say podcast? I meant YouTube.
Yep, it'll be on YouTube. Podcast. It will be a podcast, but that's not viewing for audio. Yep.
So, and I'm going to agree with Facebook user. These are 2 of my favorite people.
And it's Chris.
That's Chris. Of course. Chris and Mindy, the whole family's here.
Oh,
Tell them they can chime in.
Luke is typing. Luke is typing.
Luke is sleeping.
So if any of you are new to this, we are excited to have Abbe and Mo here for an interview, because if you haven't used Evolution Shears, they are unlike any other shear that's marketed. They are a double swivel, which I don't know if you have one handy, Abbe, just to show some fancy.
Yeah, there we go.
But everyone knows from working with us that all of us at the Academy, most of us, we all have sets. We all use them ergonomic wise. This is why we use you. So I'm going to let Chrissy take over with is my question maker.
Because I like interviewing people. Yes.
Can I say one thing off the subject, but it just reminded me that a lot of people who have the double swivel, when they order, even people who have our double swivel, but also people who don't understand that the double swivel is this. And I know that some people who already have them order a single swivel because they think this is going to move too. And it doesn't. This never moves. So I just wanted to, that just reminded me that this might be a really good outlet to put in there, that this is the only thing that ever swivels. And this is just the scissor itself.
And the thumb ring swivels 2 different ways
to give you a much wider, which is why it's called a double swivel. I don't know what else to call it other than that, but there has been some confusion. So I know people who wanted this ordered a single, which is available, but not as comfortable. Anyway,
not as comfortable.
Okay, Chrissy.
Take it away.
We also have Manny over here saying that Evolution Shears are the best. Absolutely agree with that. Yep. Yeah.
Thank you, Manny.
Yeah.
Love
so
you.
I wanted to ask you guys, how did you, what was the evolution of the Evolution Shears? Like where did that start?
I was a groomer, and these were my scissors. I don't know if you can see them, but they're the scissors that everybody uses. And I never learned from anybody how to groom. So I used to, except another groomer who didn't bother showing me how to actually scissor. So I used to scissor like this with my middle finger in there and my thumb hanging out there or tucked under there or doing heaven only knows what. And doing, that's my pinky. Thank you, Mom. And doing all of this stuff that everybody always does in order to get into all of the nooks and crannies that are on a dog's body. Well, about 5 years into it, my wrist started to burn. My hands started to burn at night. I had to wear a wrist brace every night just so that I'd be able to work the next day. Everything was dropping out of my hands. And the story is that, and it's actually a true story, but now it's kind of a joke behind the booth, is that we were in a restaurant one day and I picked up a glass of wine and the pain shot up my arm And my hand released the glass of wine.
Yeah.
And I said,
wine abuse will change your life.
Well, I said, I'm either going to have to quit grooming or quit drinking wine. And so, anyway, seriously though, it broke my heart to have to quit the job that I loved so much. So Mo was getting into sharpening, and I joined him in the van, and we started doing that. And we were talking about scissors one day with a friend, and we were sitting there. We were trying to develop a handle up here that would be more comfortable than what I was using. And then we said, well, wait a minute. I mean, look at my hand and look at Mo's hand. And why would we wear the same, why would we use the same scissor? And so I said, well, what I don't understand is why my thumb has to be tucked under here, why it can't be out here where it would be more comfortable. So, and notice that's still the same finger that was in there. So what we did was we created a scissor that would fit almost every hand. I think there've probably been about 3 or 4 people that they didn't work for in any way. And we've accounted for moving the thumb out to where it would be comfortable for you, and having a top shank that will fit every finger so that people use it properly. There you go. And that's really it. And I mean, the nice thing about this is that even if you don't use the double swivel as a swivel, it still is more comfortable and better for you because you're not closing that up. So I went on and on. I'm sorry.
No,
that's what we want.
Exactly what we're looking for. Exactly what we're looking for. And I know that some of your shears have 2 different places where you can put that hole for 2 different holes where you can put that thumb ring, and then some of them have 3, and that was part of what makes your shears so very different. So tell us more about that too.
Well,
that's all about that fit, you know.
It's all exactly.
Comfortable.
The thing is that this is one of the ones with 3 holes. The shorter scissors, generally the shank is going to be shorter, and so that's the one that has 2 holes. And the thing about this is that it's so, we can't tell what's going to fit somebody. Even looking at your hand, I don't know what's going to feel more comfortable. On mine, I have really, really short fingers, in case you didn't notice that. And yet I don't like it close up. I like it a little bit further out. So I just never, and there are some other people just like me who like it even further. It's just a matter of, I guess, hand structure and
probably,
for example,
structure.
It's reach.
It's like, the only thing I can say is that we once met somebody who walked around like this all the time. This is just the way her hand, when she dropped her hand at her side, it sat like this. When I drop my hand at my side, it sits out a little bit further, and some people sit like that. That's the only correlation I can find to being able to look at somebody's hand and tell what it's going to be. She absolutely could not use a scissor where her thumb was lined up comfortably. Her hand started to cramp. She said, I can't do this. This is never going to work. Because she was always like that.
Yeah.
Naturally. So that's why I said, I think it's hand structure. The other thing is, is diseases. Just arthritis, breaks, previous injuries, anything like that. Arthritis. The nice thing about these is that as things change in your body, or if you do have an injury or you suddenly get arthritis or something like that, you can change this so that it works better for you than it was.
Yeah. Now, after watching you guys fitting people so often at the shows, how does it work when you're fitting yourself? Like if somebody is going online and they go to your website and they're like, I want to know all about fitting one of these shears to my hand, because I know you guys can guide us through that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We get, yeah, absolutely.
We
Don't
all
do
There's
that.
also, there's also a collection of handy videos accessible
Okay,
through our
good.
website that are YouTube videos. One
Yeah.
of them is on fitting the scissors. So
Yeah,
in
wow.
terms of where it's most comfortable here, it's a little bit more difficult. But in terms of the inserts, we find when using a swivel,
A little
there goes
looser is
Mitzi.
a little better.
When using one of these,
Mhm.
you're going to use it this way. Kind of that, you know, that's the way people have been taught to do it so that it crosses over.
Yeah.
When you're using one of these, it's better to have it a little bit more perpendicular so that you're not grabbing onto it. And so because of that, we like to fit it so that the ring is back behind the first knuckle and the thumb is just at the base of the nail.
Okay. Great.
If you didn't see what I did, and that gives
If
you
you can
more
hold it
control.
closer, I think people can see, but like it's like down here
So,
instead of being up
yeah.
here. Yeah. There
This
you go.
is here instead of being
Yeah.
right at the tips of your fingers, and your thumb is right at the base of the nail instead of just being the tip of the thumb. So instead of it being like this,
Mhm.
it's like this. And that gives you better control of everything. And it feels more
Nice.
like an extension of your hand. And thanks.
And Chris is saying that you can also message Chris for fitting and tech support too.
Yep.
Yeah.
And for all our viewers, I just threw out chat.restream.io. That's where you go to get your name for future.
Oh, that's
Got
cool.
that. Do you have do you have the YouTube channel? Do you want me to share that?
Ooh.
Oh, I wish I could.
No,
I
have-
I don't know what
we
it
can
is.
search for it. We can search for those
You
and
can
take a
search
look.
for it, but
Yeah.
as I said, if you just it's
Yeah.
I find the easiest way to get there because I'm not technically savvy, as you can tell, is to just go to the website and tap the button that says helpful videos.
Oh, there we go.
And they're right
There we go.
there.
Yeah. Well, and I think everybody is becoming more and more familiar with your shears because they're such a game-changing product. I really love them. For me, I've never had problems with my wrist. I was taught really good form with my hand that I'm not bending my wrist. For me, it's my shoulder because if you're not putting all that strain on your wrist, it's going to go somewhere. And yeah, it's got to go somewhere. And you know, your shears are just a game changer to be able to comfortably move around and
And lower back pain.
Can I just address the shoulder thing and the
Yes,
neck thing
please.
and the hip thing? Is that, and I don't think that you guys can really see me, but you all know what groomer yoga is, and you all know what it's like to have to do that.
Yeah.
Which has I only have trouble with one hip, and that's the one that went out when it was kicked out every time I had to go down an inside leg. My shoulder, absolutely, from doing this all the time, I started coming home. When I started grooming, I started coming home every night and saying, "You have got to rub my shoulders." But with this, because I can just move the scissor instead of my whole body, instead of having to go like that, I can just go like that. So that's really, and it's so easy to learn to do that.
Well, and I found, I found for myself that when my shoulder was sore is when I learned how to do it.
Yeah.
I would find myself falling into old habits, holding them the way I've held other shears and thinking, is this going to make much of a difference? But when my shoulder was sore, I was like, well, this is the easiest thing in the world.
This is exactly. Look how relaxed I am.
My body actually wants to do it the easy way. It's my brain that was getting in my own way. You know, my body's like, no, you should do this more comfortably. And I'm like, you're right.
I think the nice thing is that there's less resistance now. We hear less and less. There's more and more people that come up and say, oh, I've been wanting to try these, or, oh, somebody in my shop uses them. I want to, you know, I'd like to be fitted. And fewer people who say, oh, I can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there'll always be a couple people who are just kind of having trouble with change, you know, but to get used to them really makes such a big difference, and even if it is just starting off with just one pair, just one, using them all the time.
We all started with one pair.
just one, and give it a try, give it a go. Never gonna look back.
Yeah.
So,
and they're also really high quality shears. It's not just about the thumb loop.
right.
It's not
Well,
just about
into
the
that,
swivel.
let's how did you get going out on the road and on for trade shows?
How did we get going?
What made that decision? How did you make that jump?
That was
It was a great idea, and any way we could, we got out to show people how to stop disfiguring yourself while she was showing you all this and all that. Well, we got out there as quickly as we could.
Did you start at local shops while you were?
Our first show was in Chicago. And the scissors met us there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They were a little late, as they always are. But that's where they actually were shipped to the show. So no,
and that was all American.
Yes.
Yeah.
All American in Chicago.
Wow. That was what year?
Oh God.
Maybe
2011?
11. Yeah, maybe.
I think 2011.
Maybe 10 or 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd have to look. But I mean, since this is something that people really had never seen the concept of a custom fit scissor, it was something that had to go on the road.
Yeah.
And it still does. You know what I mean? People still have to try them. But I'm always, they try them, they're amazed. I'm always surprised though when people buy them online and have never tried them before, and yet they get used to them, they like them. They may contact us for technical support, but they are able to use them and they love them and they don't return them, and so I'm really thrilled with that.
Well, and I think a lot of groomers wait until they're hurt before they try something. And I love that the school starts students off with them. Don't hurt yourself first. You can start off ergonomically from the beginning.
The thing about them is that, and yes, you can. And that's my dream, is to get them out there so that people can continue to do the job that they love.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, why wait till you're hurt? I mean, I was going to say, going back to that, the reason I asked about that when you started, because I met you in Somerset at Intergroom through Katie.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And Katie had taken a class, I think at another show previously with Pam, who then brought... Katie went over to the booth with you and bought a set.
Okay.
And then when we came down to Somerset, she was competing, and I think I bought a couple sets there, and that was before Chris was there.
So that was many, many years ago.
That's been a long time.
Yeah, that's the beginning.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of problems with my hand, and I still have a lot of problems with my hands, but it had
in the computer.
You lengthened it for sure, and I groomed for a lot longer than I thought I was going to be able to because of that. Which is why when the school opened in 2015, which isn't much longer, a couple of years, 3 years after you were really starting to get going, that we started putting them in the kits.
Yeah,
learn on them.
That was pretty soon.
Yeah,
pretty soon.
Which we love. I mean, you're one of a handful of schools that actually will go a little higher end in price in order to encourage the longevity of your students' careers. And I only say that because most of the schools it's the same scissors.
Right.
And
right.
They do it because they can get them more reasonably, probably. And it's just that
not much at this point.
I got a lot of the first year. I think I didn't. I gave the option, And then once the students realized, they were like, why didn't you just make us do this? Why didn't you just not, why even give us an option? Because we don't know enough to know the option. So just put them in our hands. And that's what I started to do. But I think that it's not just that the ergonomics of it, but people say, why give newer groomers good quality equipment that they're just going to ruin? And I don't look at it that way, because anybody who knows, I mean, I like good equipment and I want that. Why start with something cheap that you have to replace in a couple months?
That's true.
To me, it
Very
doesn't
true.
make any sense. And why have a shear that you have to send back or have sharpened a lot more frequently when you get with you a lifetime warranty? Who else? Nobody offers that. Who?
Yeah.
I don't know any other company that offers that kind of commitment to their family of users or evolution.
Tools are important for your girls.
Yeah. Well, and if you're starting off with really good equipment, your technique is going to be better too.
True.
And that's
one other thing.
one of the balance points. Like, yeah, but if you're using junky equipment, I have trouble getting a nice trim with junky equipment. Why would a student have a better time doing it? You know,
Right.
we
Let
want
me
to
tell
teach
you
them
one
to
other
well.
With this scissor, I was never able to isolate my thumb.
Yeah.
I mean, this
Oh,
is the way I
yeah.
cut. There's
Yeah.
something, it's talking about new students and getting them used to scissoring. With this scissor, my thumb is for some reason. So I really think you're absolutely right. I mean, it's the whole concept that just isolates the thumb and makes it easier to, you know what I mean. Anyway,
Yeah.
easier to scissor properly and to do a better job first time.
Yeah. Yeah. To learn good technique with good equipment. Yeah.
I'm
It's a better investment.
gonna jump in. There is Kathy Gonzalez has asked, had you ever considered a subscription box?
I don't think that I don't think our product is appropriate for I think we customize what you want, how you want it. And to just be sending scissors out willy-nilly would be a waste of money. And I don't think that we could do it as cost effectively for the consumer.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, because of the technology and the precision that it requires to actually produce them, we can't get them inexpensively enough to just send a box, And one of the things that Mo and I said from the very beginning was, I mean, our scissors are not cheap, but they're also not inexpensive, but they're also not as expensive as a lot of people know. I mean, as a lot of people expect when they try them, they go, oh, that's not bad. When we tell them how much they are. But we don't live on a lake and we don't have a boat. We don't have, you know what I mean? And we always knew that wasn't the goal. The goal was to make a living and keep people grooming.
You don't have a private island?
No private island.
We really have enough.
This is our workshop inventory. It's also our garage. You know what I mean? So this is mom and pop and some wonderful friends who help us and love the product, and that's why they work for us. Or work with us.
Good. So I have a question for you.
I have one after you.
Oh, do you want to go first?
It's up to you, but you're getting some love in the chat too, Chrissy. I'm just going to point that
out. But I was going to ask, how did you get into the whole manufacturing end? I mean, I can understand like, hey, this is my great idea, but that to me, like, how did you fill in those blanks? What did you have to do to find like manufacturing and stuff like that?
It was about.
My question starts right before this.
Oh, okay.
I got the first question here. Okay, so I want to know, how did you, or if it's top secret, then I don't want to know, but or you can't tell us, but how did you design this? Where did that come from?
It was simple.
Designing it.
When you say design it, do you mean mechanical drawing? Do you mean patent?
Yeah. What made you go, Mo, this is what we got to do. It's got to be like this.
Well, because what we did to design it was drill a
Right.
hole and
Well,
screw a, you know.
Actually,
Go ahead.
it
Go
wasn't.
ahead.
It wasn't actually a hole. What it was you cut this ring off. Okay, you cut this ring off, and you wire it down this shaft.
True.
You take it and you flip it around and you try it there and you give it to Abbe for a week and you say, try this. And she says, well, that's good, but can I bring it down further? And it's like, well, yeah, now that I already have a mark here, we moved it down. And baling wire, you wrap it around. And she tries it for another week. And she says, well, that's good. What happens if we put it down further? Hence the 3 different spots, because these shafts aren't that long. So you got 3 different hash marks. So she pulled it back to the center, which was comfortable for her. And I used a little more baling wire and an insert to make it a little more comfortable for her as she went through her day. And she had less fatigue in her hand. And she was the one who started flipping her shear.
And started figuring out. So that's where that thumb, how the double of it came about.
Well, it was loose because it was wire. So it moved. So we said, we'll use a swivel. They were available.
I love that it's baling wire, because to me, like, everything comes back to baling twine and duct tape. So, you know, very efficient.
Then it's because we've always done this on a budget. We've never been backed by anybody. We've never had anybody else's money going into this.
Yeah.
So I got a program online and did the mechanical drawing. And then we went to a patent attorney, and it was a good 3 years from idea to on the market. A good 3 years.
Okay.
That seems fast. Yeah.
And then
finding it sounds lengthy. I think that sounds fast. I assumed it would take even longer than that. Wow.
Yeah. It was a good 3 years. Oh, yeah. We may not have had the actual patent approval yet, but that was when we found our first manufacturer. And lengthy question to find a manufacturer. I sent out emails saying, we'd love, here's our drawing. We'd love a quote, by the way, it's pending, patent pending or whatever. And we got answers from none. Just in case you're wondering why they're not made in America, not a single American manufacturer responded to my email.
Nothing.
Wow.
We were
just want to let you know.
Top dollar to have them done. But nobody.
So in terms of finding a manufacturer, and no one will tell you who they use. Nobody, no other scissor company will say, this is my guy, he's fabulous.
It was horrible.
So it was horrible to find someone.
Nobody out there.
And we've actually, the first manufacturer that we worked with really messed us up.
Really
almost every single pair of scissors that we sold in
practically all the money we had
broke. And we replaced every single one that was sent to us.
Everyone
with a brand new pair.
Everyone.
And kept on
your customer service and loyalty.
I'm just saying, even when we didn't have good scissors to send them, we kept sending them these ones that we knew were going to break. And they kept breaking, and we kept on replacing them again. So there were people who went through two or three pairs before they got one that they still have.
Yeah.
Wow.
I never had that happen with your shears. As early on as I was, I didn't have.
No. Oh, somebody said it was an absolute nightmare. That might have been. Anyway, it was an absolute nightmare.
How disheartening. Fine.
I think I have PTSD because every time the phone rings, I go, because for that year, every time the phone rang, it was to say my scissor broke.
It was horrible.
And,
we
replaced every pair.
We owed it to them, and we stuck to it. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
But now we have, and we've gone through 3 manufacturers since. This one is precision. Everything is
beautiful.
So we're
very happy.
We're very happy. Yeah.
Great. And somebody wrote. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Chris is saying she's very glad you made it through that.
Wasn't easy.
I bet it wasn't.
First year we sold a lot of scissors we had to replace.
Well, they were only $99.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
oh.
But that's why they were $99. We didn't know they were going to break everybody. It wasn't us.
No idea.
Right. How disheartening.
Yeah.
You're not kidding.
So you guys make it to about a bazillion trade shows every year. How many actually do you go to?
Well,
I think this last year it was 15.
Yeah.
15.
We missed 2 dog shows that we normally do.
There were 2
So,
we missed.
So if you don't count dog shows, it's 15.
Don't count dog shows.
Yeah. Just which we do. They're usually little. We get away. We bring Mitzi with us. He does more sharpening than scissor sales. It's you know what I mean. It's just kind of it's almost a weekend away as opposed to it's relaxed.
Yeah.
Relaxed.
Are those ones close to home?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
We got a comment for you out there.
From Ellen.
Make it easy.
Lighter than the 7 set.
Yeah.
Ellen,
I'll read it out loud for
Ellen says she notices that her new 8-inch are lighter than the 7-inch. Is that a metal difference or is it designed to be lighter on purpose? I tend to think it might not be either, but I'd have to see.
It's also the balance.
It can be the balance.
This lightens up the front. Moving the thumb ring back further lightens up the front of your shear. So that could be it too.
Yeah, you know what, Ellen? I'm gonna weigh them.
Interesting.
And you know what I mean? It never occurred to me to weigh them. We know what the metal is. We know that the metal hasn't
Always
changed.
the same.
So I'm gonna weigh them just to see what the story is. And I have your sharpening here, so I will let you know.
There you go.
It's ready to come back.
It did, yeah.
Anyway, so Chris also said balance, but sorry.
That's okay.
Go for it. Yeah.
Go for it.
And I said
that's good.
For example, some people that like their scissor like me in the middle hole, when they get a 9, prefer it up further because it balances the weight of the tip better.
Less bobble.
You know what I mean? It's just, it doesn't feel as heavy because you're bringing it back further by bringing it here. So, anyway.
So it's a good idea to move that if you have to. It's a very easy process to move it. The way I designed it is a little thought while you're taking it apart. It's the same thought, put it back together, and don't forget to put a drop of oil in it. And it changes the whole feel of the shear to lighten up that front end if you have that bobble on a longer shear. So,
or just feel like it's too heavy on your wrist.
We can't get into a lot of that with people because we have limited time to work with them at the show.
Yeah.
But we can get into more of that after they own a couple of pairs, and we can talk them.
Or while being interviewed.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I've played around with adjusting the thumb hole on mine because I was like, okay, now that I was getting used to them, I'm like, should I try adjusting them and seeing how I feel? And I've moved them around a couple of times. And,
Where did you find? How did you find that, Chrissy? What did you find worked?
I definitely found that they felt heavier in one position than the other, things like that.
Yes,
and
they will.
And with the 3 adjustments, I find I'm just right there in the middle. I went back to the original fitting that I was given initially. Like, nope, that just still feels right. But I did play around with them. I'm like, okay, now that I'm getting used to using them properly instead of holding them like I hold regular shears, like I'm going to go ahead and give it a try. But they are very versatile and easy to use.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's what we try to do.
Yeah. And Mindy is saying that she loves the challenge when someone says they can't swivel.
Oh, she's amazing.
Oh, she's
She just lights up and goes, so let me put a pair in your hand.
Calm down. Let's do this.
And I can speak to that too, because when Mindy came up to the school up in Portsmouth, she showed me what I was doing, and I was holding them like a regular shear. She's like, you need to slide your ring finger further in. And I was like, oh, yes, that's what I was doing wrong. That I I was still holding like a traditional shear, so my technique had not changed at all, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know Chris lives for that too.
Yeah, she
So,
does.
so what do you have for a selection right now?
I don't have them all out.
Well, you don't
We
have to
have,
show us. That's
we
okay.
have,
What do you have?
we have 6-inch, 7-inch, 8-inch, and 9-inch in a semi-convex scissor, in straight and in curve. We have a 7-inch, 8-inch, and 9-inch in a convex finishing shear, in straight and curve. We have a small detail thinner or blender or whatever you want to call it, fine teeth.
Mm-hmm.
We have a longer fine tooth thinner or blender or whatever you want to call it now.
Yeah.
Because, and I say that because everybody's calling different things. What was a chunker is now a thinner. What was a thinner is now a blender. Or I mean,
and the number of teeth mean nothing if you don't know the length of this.
If you don't know the length of the blade that you're talking about, exactly.
Sure.
So people who want only a 44 tooth thinner or blender won't take a 40 because they don't believe that it's just a little shorter, you know. So it's you know, at any rate, we also have a 7-inch, 7.5-inch chunker and an 8.5-inch chunker. So both of them have 26 teeth. Therefore, the 8-inch has bigger teeth. The 7-inch has a little bit finer teeth. A lot of people love that one because it's kind of halfway in between a really fine tooth and a really wide tooth chunker. And then we also have our curve chunker. That's new this year. So we have that. And next year coming out, I'm hoping.
Oh, is this big unravel?
for those who don't feel that that's enough of a curve, and let me just say, all the curves are hand curved. So some of them are more curved. I grabbed one out of a box, and this was all the curve I got out of that one. But we're hoping to have an 8-inch super curve.
Ooh.
We're also working on reverse curves, at least in the 7-inch and the 8-inch.
Oh, so
neat.
that
what?
Would that be for a left-handed or just reverse?
Some people like a reverse curve also.
Okay.
But what we found about our scissors is that even though we don't have left-handed scissors, a lot of lefties can use them because it's not a push or a pull when you're cutting. It's just a straight up and down. They've been very happy that almost every single person who has taken them home and tried them has been no problem whatsoever, even though they're lefties. But they could never use a left-handed scissor because, and I am so uncoordinated with my left hand, because it would go in the wrong direction. So we're going to get them purposely made in the wrong direction so that they will also be able to have straights and curves.
Yeah.
Great.
So we have done left-handed curves for a lot of students who are, because they can use the straights, but you just have them custom done.
Yes, we have had them custom done, but sometimes they break and we lose scissors, and we can't charge anybody for a scissor that they're not getting.
Gotcha.
And we can't afford to. So this way, the factory won't even send them to us if they're not
perfect.
That's right. Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that. So let's see. So that was a whole bunch of different shears that you offer.
I'm so sorry. Yeah,
that's good. That's good.
And we also we have non-swivel shears as well, but we're so. What?
You can lock these down too.
But we're so committed to our scissor that we really, you know, this is what we do.
Yeah.
But as Mo just reminded me, you can lock these. And we have a single swivel so that it won't move at all. This won't move and that won't move.
Right.
So really, there's no reason to ever. And then once you're using it, it's just like I usually suggest that we put them just at a teeny bit of an angle.
Right.
Like that, so that your thumb is working the way it would like to work. And it won't move. Nothing will move once we put a single swivel on and lock it down.
And can I add into that, when it is like that, it breaks loose. after you've been using it for a little while, it starts to break, it starts to loosen up.
Oh, it does.
And what happens is
That's
all of
'cause
a
you wanna
sudden,
swivel.
you're using your shear, finding out that ring's turning, and you're finding out, wow, I'm using a swivel shear, and it's following my hand, and it's following my arm and my shoulder.
And I don't need it to be locked.
And they don't need it to be locked anymore. So they're actually using a swivel, and they didn't have to do anything trying to say.
Interesting.
It just happens naturally by the movement of their hands. So it loosens up and they have a swivel. And they don't realize. All of a sudden they're like, oh my God, I've been using a swivel and I didn't even know I was using one. Yeah. No, it's very cool. We've had
That's
that.
pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah. So what would you like groomers to know about your shears? You have the stage.
It's not a mystery. If you don't get all flustered by the fact that the thumb is moving, if you take these into work and you just start working the next day and cutting and keep your wrist straight, the scissor's going to move and you're just going to feel better.
Yeah.
You don't have to learn. You don't have to learn fancy tricks. I mean, we do fancy. They're not fancy tricks, but we know how to do it. You don't have to do that in order to feel better. If you can go like that,
put them on.
You don't have to go like that. You know what I mean? Just put them on and groom.
Fine. Yeah.
And keep your wrist straight, and that will solve 80% of your problem.
Pretty much.
And then as you get used to it, you'll be able to make that happen.
Your scissors will teach you. Yeah.
Yep. Mindy's saying your body wants to do what is comfortable. Well, like I said, for myself, my wrist wasn't my problem. It was my shoulder. And when my shoulder was sore is when I found out how to move them properly. I'm like, oh,
right.
Because my shoulder wasn't going to go up any further. So I just figured out how to use them.
I think the other thing is people try to overthink it.
Exactly.
And when you're overthinking it, if you're starting with them, put some music on in the background or try to really, because if you take your
bubble bath,
take your mind away from
your
it.
Sharpener would not want your bubble bath.
I'm just sitting in the bubble bath.
That's right. Moving my scissors.
Yeah, but and I think it does help when we start new students. Their challenging is for them is all the bookwork we throw at them, all the terminology that the last thing they're thinking about is worried about whether their hand is mobile. So they just do it, and it comes so naturally.
Exactly. Once they don't have those bad muscle memory habits ingrained. It's a lot easier for them to learn.
Yeah.
I would like to say one other thing. It's not about our scissors. It's more about our company. And that is that we have, we're little. It's just us. Our hearts are in it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a money thing. Our hearts are in it. And that's why we always try and do the very best that we can.
Pretty much. Yeah.
For everybody who decides to get them, decides not to get them. We've still done the best that we can. If we've shown you how to use them and they're not for you, that's okay. If you come to a show, let us show you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You don't have to buy them. You don't want to buy them. That's okay. Just let us show you so that you'll know what they're all about and whether or not you want to. You may not want to now. You may wait until you hurt. You may never hurt. That's great.
Yeah.
But just come and let us show you. That's all. Because that's the only reason we're out there all the time.
And be open-minded about it.
Be open-minded about it. And it's funny. Lately, I've been seeing an awful lot of people who have been grooming for like 40 years who are open-minded about it and trying them. And a lot of people who say, oh, I've been doing this for 7 years. I can't learn anything new. Really? You know what I mean? But it's getting better.
Yep.
It's getting better. But just be open-minded. Come and try.
And we're getting lots of comments in here too. Someone said it's a huge difference starting as a new groomer. For myself, these shears have changed my life. I don't know who that is. That's Facebook user. You know what? If you're coming up as Facebook user, just add your name at the end, like you're signing a letter.
They may not see it though.
Because I'm seeing some comments from people that we definitely know, and I thank you for your wonderful comments.
Yeah. Oh, it was Lori. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, and the thing is that it's not a hard product to use. I mean, it really is intuitive. It really is intuitive. And worst case scenario, you have a really excellent shear that you use the same way you use your other shears. It's a really nice, high quality shear. You know, I really like them.
Thank you.
Obviously.
Thank
you. But let's see. Any other questions that we missed in here? I think we've got all the questions.
You got all the questions. I have a question for
Mo.
Okay.
I'm interested, Mo. How did you get into sharpening?
Ooh, great question. Lean in.
Well,
Chrissy's coming in.
We all lean in.
I signed over my company to a couple of guys that were working with me, for me. And I said, I'm done. I had it for 30 years. So I needed something to do after that. So what I did was I talked to Abbe Sharpener, a genius of a guy, a wonderful man, and his wife, and they were moving, and they were sharpeners. They were probably the best sharpeners we would ever know. They offered to teach me how to sharpen it, so we drove around with them for months, and they taught us everything they know. We're almost. I mean, there's still tricks that they have that he would never give up. I can't say I blame him. That's what keeps him way up here.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we took their business over. And at first, we lost a few clients because of personality and whatever.
As with any business, changes.
And because sharpening is an art.
And it's sharpening.
You have to learn.
You
and
can't
it
just
takes
learn
a while.
it if you can't learn it in a year and think you're a sharpener that's going to make money.
Some of it was because we just didn't know it all.
Yeah.
You know.
So it's a lot of practice and a lot of work to be a decent sharpener, especially at these shows where people bring you things that are just a mess. I mean, honestly speaking, and you have to be able to fix them so they feel good, they work great, and just puts a smile on the owner's face again. It's not an easy job. My heart goes out to all the sharpeners out there. Our lives aren't easy, and we do hurt ourselves.
And it's really bad for your hands.
And yeah, we do cut ourselves, and we do put real sweat and tears and blood into our work. So
that sounds like grooming.
There you go. A lot of you guys.
Groomers out there, have a little love for your sharpeners.
Well,
yeah. I'm hearing he needs to make something more ergonomic for sharpeners.
We have a lot of ideas if anybody's got money.
Duct tape.
Duct tape.
Duct tape for
that private island.
Yeah.
You're going to have to sell the Lamborghini.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Funny.
So how long have you been sharpening then?
I have been sharpening for now.
Oh, wow.
Longer than we were
over
selling
15, 17 years.
So it's got to be 17 years. So about 17 or so years.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
About as long as Chrissy and I have had our businesses.
Wow.
There you go.
Awesome.
Wow. Yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah. I'm at you're 22 for my business now. Yeah.
22, so you're
it's amazing. We started when we were 15.
I don't know how my business is 22 because I'm only 18. So
yeah.
Math is hard.
Oh, we should have a party for your business.
Yeah.
What?
At least your business is legal drinking age.
I know, right? But when you're at shows and stuff, what's your favorite thing about going to shows? It can't all just be about the shears, right?
But we get to see old friends, people who are just starting after all these years, saying they want their second pair. We have other people that come up and say we're on our 14th. As you know, when they buy 4 pairs of scissors, we even give them a T-shirt. You give them a T-shirt, and it's really nice because we take a photo of them and us behind the booth, and we keep them all. We keep all the photos. We have them all. And I got to tell you, the faces, you get to remember these people. It's just the nicest thing to have.
When you get 10 pairs, you get a 10 scissor case.
10 scissor case. I mean, they're not big. They're not prizes. They're just
gratitude
for us.
You know what? We do something which is called. Did you ever, as groomers, have somebody come in and want a discount for no particular reason, just because they always ask for a discount everywhere they go, and you say, no, I really, a Shih Tzu is $50 or whatever it might be, and they leave, and they come back, but they wanted a discount for no reason. And when they leave, you say to yourself, well, what are they, a member of the freaking family? They're not my family. Why should I be giving, Well, so we have family members. So every Evolution Shears purchaser, customer, family member always gets a discount from then on. So they always get $10 off a pair and free shipping, so that you don't have to come to a show to get more scissors. You don't have to wait. All you have to do is put in the coupon code family in all caps, and you'll automatically get the $10 off and the free shipping online. And all you have to do is come up to the booth and casually mention that you'll love your curves, and you'll automatically get $10 off the pair that you're buying, or the pairs that you're buying. Yeah. And that's independent of any show specials. So that's
what we do.
It's always your family members, and that's the way we really feel. And we love it when we go to a show and we see people that we know. And we especially love it when I remember their names, because that's pretty rare. I'm not so good with names, but I love it when
hard to do, but you just got to look at those badges.
I love those badges.
Yeah. Woo, yes. Yeah. Badges are good.
Oh my God, I haven't seen it.
I forget you.
You. No, you are right. So just from working in the booth and knowing all of this, and I don't know, I might get some backlash from the others, from Mindy and Chris, but we need like a bell or something that every time somebody buys multiples, you can just go,
big ship bell.
That goes across the trade show.
A huge ship bell. Yeah.
Cowbell, some type of bell. Be like, tension over here.
There you go. Some flashing lights, confetti.
We don't want to annoy our neighbors. Yeah.
It's a victory lap. Let them be annoyed. They can do their own victory lap. They'll just be jealous, not annoyed.
All that means is that they really understand. And that they're going to make the commitment. I think one of the things about these is that if you take them home and you buy one pair and you use it 50% of the time, your chance of getting used to it sooner is decreased by 50%, unless that's the only scissor that you use. But if you're only using it every once in a while, then you're not going to get the full benefit of it. So I think what really thrills me is when people buy multiple pairs, it means I'm making the commitment. Every pair I pick up is going to be a pair that's good for me.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pick up a pair of scissors that's going to cripple me.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why our students 4 right off the bat.
But yes, exactly. A straight, a curve, a thinner, and a chunker.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely.
That's why they get the 4. So.
And the other thing that I like about you, Dara, is that for the most part, you get 7-inch scissors.
I do, because I think it's a good start.
It's a good start for some. I mean, you can see the end of it. You can see the end of the scissors. It's not overwhelming. And I think people who are committed to their 9-inch scissor are putting more strain on their wrist than they need to.
Oh,
And
okay.
yes, it may take you several cuts to get down the leg of a standard poodle, but you're not going to hurt by the time you're done grooming it. So
I do agree with that a lot, because I mean, I know I've never groomed with anything but a 7-inch.
Oh, okay.
And I've never had a shear longer. I've always used them, and I just, the weight, the heaviness has always been too much on my hand.
Yeah.
But I will say what we do is, when we do have 8-inch and 7-inch, and if there are students that have longer hands that are more comfortable with a 7-inch, they can have those and use those before we order sets for them too.
Yeah.
Make sure that we are fitting them right.
Yeah.
We also do have 8-inch scissors with shorter shanks and only 2 holes,
Yes.
which do work
Yeah.
for some people, you know.
Oh, okay.
So it's not something that we have out all the time, and that unfortunately, the problem with being at a show is that we don't have the time to show everybody everything. So we try to kind of read somebody's hand, and if they have a very small hand and we think it might work better with a shorter shank, then we will bring that out. But otherwise, so if anybody out there listening to this comes to a show and you think you might fit that category, by all means, please ask us, because we do have them there.
Right.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I honestly never even thought about the weight of the longer shears. Like, I started grooming. I groom small dogs when I'm house call, mostly because I'm not kneeling on the floor next to bathtubs anymore. But I remember my 10-inch shears when I was doing lots of poodles at one job, and I never thought twice about if they were heavier or not. So yeah, I never thought about that.
And they make your whole, it has to go like that. You know what I mean? Your wrist.
Yeah.
So the first time I ever met Chris, real short story. She goes on for 20 minutes. Real short story. The first time I ever met Chris, I walked, or maybe not the first time, but anyway, she was working at a salon. I walked in, she had a 9-inch scissor in her hand, and she was tipping a Yorkie's ears. And I went,
I think she's laughing over here.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was horrified.
Wow.
Me too.
I know. I used a little teeny scissor and my thumbnail there to protect it.
Oh, and listen to her.
She still does it.
Say that, Chris.
She says, I still do it.
Well, I remember the first time I saw a 10-inch shear, I'm like, is this a sword?
I know.
What is this thing? That's crazy.
I don't necessarily.
I really like 7s. I think those are my favorite.
Yeah. I'm a good.
Well, 8s were my favorite, but now 7s I think are absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, 8s were the only option I knew of when I first started.
Yeah. You had just gotten the 6-inch, and I would even say if I were still grooming, I would drop to a 6-inch.
Really? Wow.
But I'm happy to be saying I'm not grooming. Are you listening, Lori?
She is happy. She's so happy.
Grooming. So yes, different strokes for different folks. That is, yeah. So, well, we appreciate you guys coming on and telling your story.
Well,
we appreciate you having us on.
Thanks.
This has been on our whole pet instructor and graduates page as well. So our students and all the graduates will be able to watch this also, who all use you.
I was going to say, that's excellent, because we haven't met them all.
I know. Do you know what I mean? I know. We try to get them to shows, but
I'm glad that they got to meet us a little bit and know where it comes from.
Yeah. Well, one day they'll be able to maybe come to the school one day for a visit.
That would be nice.
That'd be cool.
We've had
That'd be
Chris, we've
fun.
had Mindy, we got Chrissy, we got
Not in the winter.
Laura's there, you know, we've got those. But so we will do an announcement really quick because we've done posts on it, but we haven't said it verbally.
Oh.
That Gabby was one of our graduates back in 2015 and big Evolution fan, as you guys know, Gabby Finney. And so we are working with her and doing the Teton Grooming Expo under the Whole Pet Grooming Academy this year.
It's very exciting.
So, and
very exciting.
You guys have I'm going to say you guys have committed to come back again.
Well, we did say that. I don't know.
You did say that. So we're all very happy to have you coming back.
It was a great show and a great location, and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Good.
I have gotten from all the other vendors that I have recently talked to, I've gotten a lot of good feedback back that it was, and hopefully we can fill these shoes because from my understanding, she did an amazing job considering she was flying solo on it.
Yeah.
So I give bravo to Gabby for stepping up and doing that. I know I say it a lot. I could not be more proud of her as a graduate and stepping up and taking that on like that. I mean, it's just so, but I'm grateful to her that she came to us and felt that we would be ones to be able to step up and take and work with her on it.
Yeah, because she's still involved, but we're just gonna help organize it and be so much fun.
Yeah,
so exciting.
Yep.
Beautiful place.
Yeah,
beautiful.
It is.
Yeah. So looking forward to that. Chrissy, do you have any news?
I can't think of anything.
No.
But to remind everybody that if you missed this or you're wondering what we've talked about in the past, those are all still up on our YouTube channel. And as of about a month or two ago, we started putting them up as a podcast also, as the Groomers Cut. Should we mention that we might be changing the name?
Yes, we are going to be doing that. We are in the middle of, once again, rebranding.
Yep.
But with all these, with business, you got to rebrand. And that is our go-to is to rebrand and get the best to everybody that's out there in our viewer world.
Yep. So if you hear things that you're interested in, tell your friends, check it out, share. And if you have topics that you're interested in, please let us know. We're always interested in new topics too. People to interview, all sorts of great things. So
yes,
I'm just so happy that you guys were able to join us tonight.
Thank you.
We're very happy.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
And last thing, I am going to post Evolution website.
Oh, yeah. Let's get that on there.
Now we've got your YouTube channel out there and your website.
Thank you.
And for audio purposes, it's evolutionshears.com.
And for anybody who has any kind of a problem with the website, because we kind of did it ourselves. As I said, everything on a budget. Just call. You know what I mean? Especially if you're a family member, just call. And we can help you out with whatever you might want to contact us with through the website.
Right.
So use the 800 number or use my cell phone. I don't care. Okay.
Excellent.
Sounds great. All right. Mindy loves you guys.
We love Mindy and Luke.
Thank you, Luke.
And Luke. Yes. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Have a good week.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.